on the night of NXT TNA Showdown, we are back. Pretty big show for just being on cable TV. I would say, Dan. I say if we were to get a show like this, I don't know, maybe 7 to 10 years ago, I feel like this would have been on like like a weekend card or something, right? To get these two brands going at it, like if it was that possibility, because it kind of feels like Raw versus SmackDown, kind of like the actual video game, like when the red shirts show up, the blue shirts come back and counter. Few things to talk about, but just to go through that card real quick. For the NXT card, it's Team NXT, which is Ricky Saints, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Miles Bourne, versus Team TNA, Mike Santana, Moose, Leon Slater, and Frankie Kazarian. And I believe Joe Hendry is the referee for that match, if I remember correctly. So that's an interesting turn on it, which all reports, I don't know if you saw this week, saying once his contract up, it's pretty much a sealed deal that he's a WWE guy. And WWE guy, I think I read in the one article, to the main roster, not even NXT. So that's pretty interesting if that turns out to be true. Right now, they started their show with the Hardy Boys versus the Dark State, which is a fake version of the Shield, in a winner-take-all match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships and the NXT Tag Team Championships. And there's also Mustafa Ali versus Ethan Page for the NXT North American Championship. Off the bat, Dan, you think this is going to be a clean sweep for Team NXT? Because I'll tell you who I think.
No.
I think the women of Team TNA are going to pull out the win. But I think
agree.
everything else is going to be Team NXT. Because I feel like that's how a lot of these shows go.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I would say I just will take a leap in assumption that Jordan Grace will somehow cause/allow the TNA team to win, just to throw in a little curveball to the NXT side.
Yeah. I mean, she is the special guest referee, so that makes sense. That's a good point to call out there.
I also, to be quite honest with you, I 100% would think the Hardy Boys will win.
Yeah, why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah.
Because then the other thing is, too, they still have that match coming up with the Dudley Boys. If they had the TNT titles and the NXT titles, they could put those both on the line for the Dudley Boys, and then you could get a small run out of the Dudley Boys if they're still in shape or if they still feel like they can go. And then you're broadcasting both titles all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey, business is business, man. That sounds good to me. But yeah, we'll see. This is a pretty, a 4-match card for NXT? Sounds about right, but should be pretty cool. I'm interested in the 4v4, and I love the fact that they started with the Hardy Boys, and the fact that Jeff looks clean. So that's huge. Hopefully he stays healthy, and, it'll be cool to watch them take those titles, because I'm not really a fan of the Dark State. I mean, I could care less. It's like these guys are being pushed as the Shield, and they have 95% less of the personality that the Shield had. So I don't, I just don't understand it with these guys. Yeah. But we'll see how it goes, because usually when those things don't really pan out in NXT, they're broken up before they go to the main roster. But pretty cool show. Tune into that, or catch that if you can after our pod, or or whenever you have the time, because it's actually pretty cool. and then we'll talk about what's going on AEW Dynamite too, because that seems like a pretty decent card. But there's a few stories I wanted to touch base with you on while we start this here, Dan. Um, you want to start with what are we thinking? You want to start with a WWE legend story? You want to start with a couple that was basically kicked to the door at WWE, or some contracts discussions?
Let's just start with WWE story.
All right. So, for anyone that tunes in to click this, the Kevin Nash podcast, very good podcast. Been listening to them for a while now. Recently caught up, and Kevin Nash basically said he was talking to Mister Waltman. For anybody that doesn't know, that's X Pac this week. They had their weekly update, which is pretty cool that they, still keep in touch, check on each other, see how each other's doing, right? Because they've been brothers for however many years they traveled the road and they transformed the business together. They were discussing their royalty checks, and Kevin Nash let out an expletive and said the last one was good, this one was rotten. And he goes into detail and says, by rotten, I mean it was half. When I was making huge money in royalties, it was broken down. It would say NWO t shirts, NWO women t shirts. Now it says NWO intellectual property, and there's just a number. There's no subcategories. It's going to be a forensic accounting, and I'll effing sue them. I mean, that's just the way it goes. It got weird when they sold. If you take all those guys and cut that in half and put them back on the books, that's several $1,000,000. Which, I mean, we can't, like, from a WWE side, we're surprised about this, right? But if for anybody that followed the early days of the UFC, one of the big gripes against Dana was that he wouldn't let guys put sponsorships on their stuff, right? Like starting off, it was just Reebok, and I think the first person that they let put stuff on is when Brock was there, because Brock showed up with the
Right?
Jimmy Johns on his shorts and like two other sponsors, I think, right? So he was the first guy to
Yeah.
get the okay to kind of like branch out on the branding. So I mean, this kind of makes sense from a UFC side. From a WWE side, there's probably a lot of people in shock, especially a lot of l- 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 legends that are still on the roster. Because let's be honest, like the wrestling business hasn't been great to everybody. So I guarantee there's a lot of people that still rely on this check coming in every month, right? Like we've all seen them movies are wrestler. If they don't make it big, they're hitting Comic Cons until their 70s. Like,
Yeah.
side
Yeah.
note,
We see that.
you called it, Dan. Hardys take the titles. Pretty cool.
Winner takes all.
Yep. Now let's see if there's a
That's
confrontation with the
cool.
Dudley Boys. Um, but he said, I'm a WWE guy. I can't have a picture of me in the crowd and underneath it say is all elite. I just can't have that. It doesn't work for one of my closest effing friends is Paul Levesque. As much as I love Steve, in quotes, Sting, I know he'll only have one match, and then he goes into detail what pissed him off about the whole last match for Sting as part of the story too. So it seems like he's bringing this full circle about the gripes that he's had with WWE in the past. I mean, we've discussed the Sting
Right.
thing in the earlier pod a while back. So when that first came out, feel free to go through the library and find that one. But it kind of goes on this, doesn't seem like this transition happened as smoothly as they would like everybody to believe, huh? Like with the accounting department, the
No.
finance department, like
No. Apparently not. I mean, I suppose some of that was to be expected, right? The big, huge corporate conglomerate comes in and takes over and changes a lot of things and calculates a few things a little differently, maybe. And, I guess in a way that's never been, super. Even though, like, he talks about how there was a change to some of the transparency, I think even within the transparency he was getting, I don't know that it was 100% clear to him, like, ever, why the number is the number. But the number was always good, so it's like you don't really care, right? Like I doubt it tells him, well, we sold 7,000 NWO shirts in the month of June, so you get 25% of whatever, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like he said, like, it cut in half, so like that's obviously very noticeable. So it's interesting, but I guess not surprising to me that a company like TKO, with Endeavor pulling the strings there, is likely saying, well, look, you guys weren't calculating this cost of merchandising that we think is certainly allowed to be charged, or calculated under the contract, right? Like, maybe they sit there and go, the guy who updates the WWE shop website should be, the cost of him should be taken out of, you know, the expenses, right? Before you
Mm-hmm.
get to the number that we're, gonna pay each person, right? So, maybe 150 grand in profit just became 100 grand in profit, you know?
It's
Very
terrible.
interesting. Really shitty too.
Yeah,
So,
for it to like happen all of a sudden, right? Because I guarantee, like, if they reached out to these people and had like conversations on, hey, uh, you know, we appreciate you still being a part of the company and still staying a WWE guy through all this. We know you probably had opportunities to go just sit in a chair and collect a check, a very big check, but we appreciate you staying by us. You know, now that things have transitioned over, this is what we're thinking, blah blah blah. And this is what the royalty checks are probably gonna be like. I think they would be more open to like, all right, can you just break that down to me then? Like, how or like why,
right,
right?
right.
Instead
Well,
of
that's the interesting.
yeah, it's weird.
Go ahead.
No,
I
I
was gonna say that's the interesting part of, like, under, like, I'm actually a little surprised this hasn't come up sooner, even
yeah,
without TKO, of kind of asking for a better accounting in the first place. Because if you're just getting a check, like, even given what he did say, so if I'm him and I'm getting a check, and again, maybe it's you don't rock the boat when the number's really nice, but like, if I'm getting a check that says NWO male men's t-shirts $1,000, NWO women's t-shirts $1,000, like, whatever it says, like, what does that mean? Does that mean you sold 100 shirts, 1,000 shirts, a million shirts? Like, I get 25% of the merchandise you sell that is attributed to me. But does he know how many shirts they sell? Right? Like, I'm going to look right now. If I click on WWE shop and I go to t-shirts and I go by top sellers, right? This is actually the first time in a long time, but the NWO shirt is on the top sellers page,
it always
right?
is. It
So now it's not quite as high as it normally is. I will say that much, but also that could also be a little bit of some trickery. But there's a couple of Austin shirts that are ahead of it now. Right now, it's a lot of Cena shirts that make sense as top sellers. Um, but it used to always seem to be like the first five of the top sellers. So I would, if I'm him or any of them, I would be wondering, like, how many are you selling, by the way? Like, You know, like $1,000 equals approximately how many shirts? You know, or for every thousand in royalty, I can assume you sold 10,000 shirts.
Right.
I'm surprised they've never asked for those numbers
So the
a little bit
Sportster,
more.
so the Sportster kind of did the same thing that you did for their article today. They went to www.shop.com and typed in Nash into the search bar. There's a total of 18 items available. When you type in his other ring name, the Diesel, there are a total of 12 items available. So 30 items total, just with those two personas, including a signed Punko spot. Before he went,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it's not shocking that when you search for the NWO when Sportster did this, there's 168 items available.
Yep, I see that too.
Considering, how popular the WCW faction was, including like signed Funko Pops of Nash, Hulk Hogan, and Scott Hall. Um, there are baby clothes, hoodies, baseball cap, t-shirts, everything you can think. Currently, top 5 sellers in the NWO merchandise are the men's black NWO retro t-shirt, men's black NWO Wolfpack t-shirt, men's rippled junction black NWO for life, men's pro spear black NWO life t-shirt, and the men's homage charcoal NWO world order tri blend pullover hoodie. So those are the top things right there. Now, when you were looking through that, I did a little bit of digging. I guess so. It's out there that the WWE legends typically earn between 25 to 50% of the royalty profits from merchandise sales, depending on their individual contracts, and star power. So standard rate around 25% of the profit WWE makes from the merchandise sales. That is not 25% of the sales price, but 25% of WWE's profit after the cost. So a wrestler might get $1 from every $30 of merchandise sold, basically. The shared merchandise, if a product features multiple wrestlers, the 25% royalty is split among all of them. Top tiers, like Steve Austin, The Rock, and Hogan, have reportedly earned up to 50% of the merchandise profits at their peak, the Sportster says. Legend contracts, retired stars under those deals. This is hysterical to me. Like, I do think he's a legend, but this is hysterical. This is the one that they picked. For example, D. Von Dudley can still earn 30 to 40,000 per quarterly royalty checks, depending on the sales volume. So it kind of seems in like the TKO group holdings came in and just made things their way. And then that's it. Like, just kind of hey, that this is what's going on. No corporate memo of like, this is what to expect by this date. Kind of just like, we don't like how this accounting's done. We're going to do it our way. And this is the stupid stuff that I said, like, Tony Khan would do, and it gives a black eye to, like, his business or, like, his domain within the business. And this is a stupid thing to do if all of a sudden it's going to come out that TKO is being sued by all of these WWE legends. Because it's like, this just makes you look terrible. You're printing money. We saw the prices for WrestleMania tickets. You just came out and said that a WWE wrestling show ticket prices for a house show are going to be on the same course of a UFC ticket. So it's going to be $400 or $500 a ticket just to go see a basic house show. $300 to $500 a ticket to go see a basic house show. Like, this is this could definitely turn out to be a black eye, and that's terrible if that's the case, right? Because like these like without those guys, there's let's be honest, WWE was dead, right? There was a good chance, like dead. That whole DX versus NWO thing, like without Stone Cold popping off like he did, they're dead. They're dead in the water. So they need to be paid what they need to be paid. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. Um, yeah, so that's pretty terrible. On the other storyline I wanted to touch base with you with, my boy Karrion Cross, the undervalued Karrion Cross, and Scarlett was on the Chris Van Fleet podcast today. Did you happen to catch any of that?
I saw a bunch of the clips, but I did not catch it like in the moment, and I did not watch the whole thing. But I did see a bunch of clips.
So the biggest clip from it is Scarlett talking about what they're gonna do. And people have tried to spin this already as they said they're going to AEW. But if you clearly put the subtitles on, because you can't pay attention and listen for the full 32-second clip, it specifically says if we ever go to AEW, that's going to be where we end up. That is going to be the final stop, and we're going to fight for that company till the end. So it seems like they're getting close to being done. Like, right?
Yeah,
Like, I don't know if
yeah,
they,
maybe.
like, I don't know if it's the trend. Like, they seem to be, like, you know, which, now, this other storyline is going to piss me off because you know how I feel about this next storyline. Xavier Woods' contract, I guess, came down to the last day or whatever, right? Like, it was supposed to be done the end of September.
Yeah,
Um, would you rather have Karrion Cross and Scarlett or Xavier Woods and Kofi right
wow.
now?
Uh, carrying right now, carrying Cross and Scarlet, obviously, but that wouldn't have always been my answer.
If
I was a big fan of New Day for a
yeah,
long
for
time,
sure,
but
for sure, for sure. If
yeah,
if Xavier Woods and Kofi were still relevant within the tag division, like if they still had opportunities like every couple of weeks to take back the tag titles, and they were still the New Day, not whatever they are now, would you pick them over Cross and Scarlett?
I might. Yeah, I might.
I'm kind of getting to the point where where I think WWE is getting to the point of like they have a general manager that knows this the veteran player can. He's a great practice player, right? But you're not going to get his best stuff from every time he's out there on the show. But he's a great guy to have around in practice,
Right.
and it feels like WWE is starting to retain a lot of those guys right now. Like there's like if that's the case, like Karen and Scarlett are done after this. I'm sure this was a discussion Ted with Tunter, but there is no way that I'm letting Karrion walk out the door. Like they just the crowd was behind him. You had him for that month and a half straight of where the crowds were chanting, "We want Karrion." Like you brought back our
Yeah,
truth for the same crowd behavior, right? Like no, yeah. I mean, and if you watch any of his documentaries that he's been putting on his YouTube channel, he basically explains it. Like he was offered a contract, but they didn't give Scarlett a contract, so he said, "Yeah, that made the decision easy. I'm not going back."
right. That and like what am I remember correctly too that he kind of said like the other thing was like he kind of asked for like some justification
Yes,
and detail from like how they came up with their number and they couldn't give it to him.
and it's the same.
That kind of bothered him too.
And if you just go back to our first storyline, that's the same thing that Kevin Dash was just talking about. All justification or logic about how things are conducted out the door.
Right. Just
So
not available.
yeah, no, we don't talk about that with the stars. Like this feels like UFC 2.0 all over again. You know what I mean? Like it's I don't know. It's terrible, but those are some of the bigger headlines going around this week. The Xavier Woods contract, I guess, is a multi-year extension. Yay! So, um, yeah, I just stick to the YouTube channel, and I don't know at this point. It's just I don't know, Dan. It's sometimes I don't feel like I don't know if Hunter's been hitting the way that he's been hitting in the past, and I think it's starting to show through. Um,
Yeah,
right?
I
Like,
have something. Yeah, I have something at the end. I was going to ask you and talk about that'll kind of tie into this. So,
sure, okay,
actually, maybe I'll just say it now because it like you said, it talks into as far as like the comment of like Hunter maybe not hitting and all that. I was gonna say like as a parting thing is that you know I've realized thinking about today and what we were going to talk about, I've kind of like thought to myself over the last few weeks, maybe a couple of months even, I've just been kind of like not as interested in wrestling right now. And I don't know why. I can't tell you why. Like, so don't ask why, because I'm just going to tell you, I don't know. I'll be honest. I could make some stuff up like, well, maybe there's not enough compelling story. Like, and it's not that I like don't want to watch it in general or like, but like I haven't been watching Raw live much at all. I always just watch it the next day for the most part. I haven't, been like certainly glued to the TV to get to SmackDown, right? AEW I still haven't gotten back into, at all. But then when I step back and I think like it just hasn't been compelling enough overall as a product. There are certainly high moments, but overall as a product, recently it just hasn't been compelling enough for me to be like, can't wait for Raw tonight. You know, but now having said that too, like I agree, like NXT tonight is something compelling enough to
yep.
want to know what's going on, watch whatever, But like I watched Raw this afternoon. I had it on. It was fine. It's good Raw. I'm sure we'll talk about it in a little bit. But I wasn't sitting there going like, "Wow, I really wished I had watched this last night live." I don't feel like I missed much, you know. And I don't know why that is, but you kind of made me think of that too, even more so when you said like he hasn't been hitting recently.
Two things about this. I agree. I was reading online. We are definitely not the only ones that feel like this. I think the switch to Netflix has a lot to do with it because that kind of the anticipation of I want to catch this live is kind of go dead because even if you don't catch it live, like it's not like you gotta like track it down through your Hulu or go on demand to find it, right? Like you could just pop it up at
Yeah,
any
for
time.
sure,
Secondly,
for sure.
was the opening promo the best part of Raw last night?
No, not in my opinion.
I think it was probably
I
tied.
thought I thought Punk's was better for sure for me.
I I thought having Roman back brought a certain sort of buzz to the show that it hasn't had.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. Yes, having Roman back definitely helps for sure, and I'm glad in that sense, like because I do think overall it's better, and I like where the possibilities of where they could go. Although I'm not all that interested in watching him and Bronson Reed, but I haven't been interested in like the combos they've been doing with those guys for a while now. Um, but overall, yes, it's better with Roman back right now. And once we get through Crown Jewel, I think in general there's a lot of opportunity for it to be better. Um, but as far as his promo, no, I did not think it was like, you know,
I just think having him back brings that like extra buzz that it feels like they've been missing. I agree with the Bronson Reed stuff. For some reason, they feel like they need to push him through Bronson Reed, which fine, get it over with. I don't like. I think I would be a little bit more interested if it was Braun Breaker, um, and I do kind of like. Well, yeah. Let's jump into what happened on Raw. So like obviously it starts off with that promo. And then when Roman goes to say Dallas, acknowledge me, Bronson Reed's theme song hits, right? And then Paul walks out. And then Paul tells him, you know, I don't know who taught you how to do a promo, but basically he called it crap, right? Or whatever. So then they were going back and forth. And it basically broke down to Roman Reigns accepting the challenge of Bronson Reed to an Australian street fight at Crown Jewel. Which, fine. Bronson Reed in a street fight, maybe it'll be good, right? Like, it'll give an extra,
yeah,
like, element to it that, um, we might not have had before. If it was just a regular match, I kind of was like, all right, let's get that on to start the show, and then we can skip it. Um, but, so you had the Reigns appearance, you had the CM Punk appearance, you had Lyra versus Roxanne, which I thought was very good. Um, you had Maxine Dupree versus Becky Lynch, which kudos to Maxine for pulling out all the tricks in her bag. I don't know if you watched that one through, but she even dropped the straps and put on the ankle lock. Like
yeah,
she
yep,
was in the zone last night against Becky. So that's good to see
yeah. I watched him.
due to all the crap that she takes from people on Reddit that are still in their parents' basement. That was awesome to see her be able to go like that, and hopefully we get more opportunities to see it. And big point to that, Becky's now 0-2. She lost to AJ, and she got beat by Maxine now.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. What do you think they're doing with Becky? Like this 0-2 is like not what they usually do with a champion.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing other than actually I just don't know what they're doing. Actually, I was gonna say maybe setting her up for a loss, but then again, they're like been setting her up for a loss,
Yeah.
so I really don't know.
Like like first thing I thought of, this is the perfect territory for AJ just to surprise pop back up again and say, "See, you've been getting beat in all these because I'm still in your head and I'm going to take your title next." Right? Cuz she's obviously still can't function with the fact she got beat by AJ. So this long-term storytelling
Yeah,
that she's going to take 3 to 4 more losses and then along the way AJ's gonna pop up and take her title, or is AJ now on a break for a bit to recover? Like we don't know. Um, so it's very interesting that occurred right off of the Roman and Bronson promo, and Roman calling Bronson a bitch, so he was able to like get him to come down into the ring to start throwing hands, which is pretty cool. I believe after that we had the whole backstage segment, right, where like Asuka weirdly First of all, her paint was wild. Do you remember what her paint was?
I don't remember specifically. Um,
It
no.
it was almost like that worm thing for Beetlejuice, but it looked like it was all the teeth, and it was like up her chest and her neck and like around her face, like just a crazy paint job, like she always does. But
Yeah.
this was like extra crazy for being raw. Um, so uh, because Rhea is already at Crown Jewel doing all the publicity that WWE said, Asuka demanded that Kairi Sane had a match with Io. Sane didn't really want to have the match, and Io smacked the shit out of her. Like, open hand, like when
Yeah.
Kairi pulled her hand away, it was red. Like, she didn't hesitate with that. So, do you have any interest in that tag match? I think it'll be good, but I don't know if I'm interested in it.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to put it. Like, I'm sure it'll be good, but no. Do I have like a lot of interest? No, it's another like, okay, great, but like, you know,
Yeah, and
whatever.
when are we getting Rhea to go back after her title?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing there. I don't really understand that either.
Like, it just
I
doesn't
don't understand that at all.
make sense to me. Um, and then we had Lyra and Roxanne after that. That was pretty good. Um, Match was physical. It was quick. They are the they are the perfect partner for each other in the squared circle. And then later on in the show, like there was a backstage part where they were talking to Penta about helping out AJ and dragging Lee and Bailey and Lyra were just wailing on Brickwell, just throwing her into the wall and everything. Um, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Um, I don't know. It's tough to tell, right? Because you still have Bailey back and like her happy, everybody gets a hug type gimmick. But it's like,
Yeah.
but it's almost like she's doing this to be a cheerleader for Lyra. So are we pushing Lyra to get a title and then she goes back to being heel and then she gets the title? Like, or is Bailey truly both sticking to being the good guy? But to be honest, the thing is though, the crowd is really behind Bailey, like coming out
Yeah.
and dropping hugs, and it's almost like her
Yeah, well
career got a
they've been
rebirth.
itching they've been itching for something from her, right?
Yeah, for a while now.
Like that's what it boils down to. So like now we've got it. So it's like this is great, you know?
Well, there was all that outcry when she got left after WrestleMania, like when she got left
Right.
off. Like people are like, "What are you doing?" Right? So, um, but yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Like, I think once again, I think that this will be good. I don't know how much I care about it. As bad as that sounds,
Yeah.
right? Um,
I don't care for it a ton either,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, agreed. So that'll be interesting. Um, and then after that, I believe after that, that's when Roman caught the Usos backstage, right? And they had that like weird
Yes.
interaction between that like father grandfather type interaction where Roman told Jay something like, "I told you to go get what's yours," And Jay responded, and then he said, if that's the case, then who's talking at the top of the hour? Which I found that to be a strange comment because you would have never heard a wrestler refer to somebody speaking at the top of the hour as that under Vince, right? There's a lot of that going around and being
Yeah.
used now that you would have never heard before. So that was
Yeah.
intriguing a
Well,
bit.
little too much inside baseball.
Yeah, yeah, and like you don't know if it was supposed to come across that way or if he just like slipped or what. But Jay responded, "What Punk is," and then Roman just did a "huh" type thing, and then Jay took off pissed. So it's almost like he's bringing the boys back to the dark side.
Yeah, slowly, right? Like I think it is like meant to be that. It's a little bit of like, look, yeah, you and Punk aren't enemies, but like you have no friends if they're not part of this bloodline.
Yeah,
You
go
know,
get what's
like
yours. Yeah,
right. Nobody stands in your way. We run this company, and that means that, you know, you don't need alliances with anybody but us, you know, or somebody that the tribal chief deems appropriate to have the alliance with, you know.
yeah.
So I definitely think that's where that's headed, so that they can kind of get that back.
Um, like I could see it from the Jay point of view of Punk, and then Roman made the comment with Big Jim. You know, I hear everything, right? But he really doesn't have an adversary to get Jimmy pissed off at to pull him back to the dark side. So how do you think he does that? Like just the fact that like he heard Jimmy giving advice and it wasn't from the tribal chief. Like is that what does it? Because that really doesn't make sense. Of like if you're bringing these boys back angry and you're gonna go back to belt chasing. Because that was the other thing that came out this week, with The Rock definitely not being involved in WrestleMania. Everything's pointing to Cody Roman the Third. So it's like,
Right. Right.
because you're gonna need something big, and you don't have it right now on the card. You don't have it right now on all three cards, right? Unless you do Cody Orton, because I think Cody versus a heel Orton could save the main event of SmackDown, which has been kind of plain and bland for a while. Um, but even then, I don't know if that gets you to WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you could do Cody and Orton at a big pay per view, and everybody would walk away being like, "All right, that was cool," but not having to see that again, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
so
probably true.
so it's like, how do you bring Big Jim back then? Because he's clearly pissing off Jay to get Jay to come back that way, right? Like, and you heard the subtle comment from LA Knight saying you're trying so hard to be Roman, but you're not him, and that's a good thing. So it's kind of like, all right, that was just kind of a weird, you know, let's tie this up with a bow at the end of the show type thing to say. Like, it's strange. But I do think what you brought up last podcast about having the bloodline back for war games is starting to look more true every episode that we get through here now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then obviously, like you mentioned earlier, we had the Punk segment where it was Punk talking to the Usos, and then I'm sorry, Punk and the Punk had a promo that he told Cody that he would stay out of his business because they're friends, whatever. But Punk still has a strong dislike for Seth, whatever. You know, back and forth type stuff, as you expect to hear. Because I don't think the Punk and Seth stuff is ever going to be truly over. I think if Seth does drop that belt, it's going right back to Punk. and I think it's going to be on Punk for a while. I don't foresee them.
Yeah, I would think so.
I I don't foresee them putting anybody else big between Seth and Punk. Do you? Like, I just don't see it. I don't see like a stopgap champion.
No,
If
I
anything,
don't think so either.
the only name that I would say is big enough would be Orton. If if they did it the right way to make sense.
If they do it the right way and I mean, they have to turn Orton to do it, I
Right.
think.
Which everybody's waiting on.
Right.
So I think it is truly
Which,
possible. Um I, I mean, to be honest, like, you can even have like Punk doing a promo saying something about the title and Orton coming out and saying, "Hey, you remember that time that you spoiled my return? That was my time, and you took that from me." Now, and then you could just have him like point at the belt and say, "Now I'm gonna take that," and he just drops the
yeah.
bike and walks away, right? Or he pulls out an RKO out of. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I just don't know. It's like overall, and then that basically ended up in a tag team between LA Knight and Punk versus the Usos, and LA Knight stealing the pin, right? Like, that's how that kind of went. I kind of
Yeah.
dozed off at the end of it, so um, but yeah, like, what are your thoughts? Like, what did you think? I know you said you haven't like really been glued to it, but like overall, like as a show, like, what would you grade it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just give it a B. Like, right, like there was good
Fair.
matches for sure. Again, nothing crazy, nothing overly overly compelling, but also like it wasn't terrible by any means. You know, I think for me in general, it's just been not compelling enough for me to be like, I got to be home to make sure I see SmackDown
Um,
or whatever.
how do you feel? Does it change your thoughts on the show if you think about it as it being a walkaway show that led up to Crown Jewel? Because technically, if you think about it, Punk,
No,
LA Knight, the Uso brothers, nowhere to be found on this card for Crown Jewel,
yeah,
right? So was that WWE's way of saying, "Listen, we know we don't have anything planned for you in Australia," which, let's put a big asterisk against that, right? Because Punk could come out and screw over Seth, right? Like, Punk could be the backup
100%.
for Cody if Bronson and Braun come out, right? So it's like, and then do we get Jay and Jimmy on top of that? You just might as well, but they're not set to appear, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Um,
There's no match. Right. They're not advertised.
right. Like, I mean, I think B's a very fair show. I thought the two best things were the promos, but just the interaction between Paul and Reigns, and then Punk's promo. Match wise, I think Lyra and I think Lyra and Roxanne edges out the main event one for me. I think, um, but yeah, overall, I would say B plus, B. Yeah, solid B would work. That's fair. Um, so does this change your expectations of the crown jewel card at all, or for
No,
for what they have planned?
no, not really.
Did you?
Like Crown Jewel is another one. Like,
Yeah.
you know, just don't care. you know, like you don't care too much. Like there's always the chance that something's gonna happen,
Yeah.
right? That is like, oh well, I wish I was watching for that reason. But also, like, what did we say? It's gonna be on
At 8 a.m.
7 a.m. our time.
I saw it
What is it?
starts at 8 a.m. I think the pre-show starts at 7.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I'll be at soccer practice, so doing my dad
right.
duties. Um yeah, it's interesting, man. I mean, overall it seems like a pretty good card, right? Like, so for the men's crown jewel championship, we have Cody versus Seth. Not bad.
Yeah. Not bad. I mean, there's obviously, as it is with this card, there's just no rhyme or reason other than the fact that they're both champions, but there's no story here. They can create the story because they've had so many battles and Cody has won them all now, but that's about it.
Um women's, we have Stephanie Fakir versus Tiffany Stratton. Should be decent. We have
Mm-hmm.
AJ Styles and John Cena, which was just made official over Twitter, which was okay. Um, we have Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. I think that should be very good. And we have the Street Fight versus Reigns and Bronson Reed. Do you expect them to add anything else? That's 5.
Um, 5.
I think it's tough at 5, especially with a street fight.
It's it's probably tough, but it wouldn't shock me if they throw something on with SmackDown coming up. Um, yeah, it wouldn't shock me if they add one more, and they just cut some of the, or not cut, but some of these matches just will be a little bit shorter, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's your thoughts? Who do you think's walking away with the W's here?
I actually think, oh, I don't know. Well, I think Roman's going to win.
I think he
Um,
I think he has to, right?
yeah. I think Roman's going to win. I think Stephanie wins. Um, I'll I'll wait for a second for Seth and Cody. What's the other one? What are
Um
the other two? Or
it's AJ versus John and Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Io and Rhea.
so I think Cena wins. I think Io and Rhea win, and then so Cody Seth. I can't decide what I think there. Like, since it's not for their actual belts, I could see Seth winning. Um, just to continue to give him something there. But it also like wouldn't shock me if they do a Punk thing and Punk makes Seth lose, like Seth's been making Punk lose, and he gets one a little bit back. Um,
I think we see the Usos in the street fight.
yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think you see Braun Breaker somehow involved, although so there's not really a third guy there. So maybe we get a third guy,
Right, that's what I was just gonna
and then
say,
the
right?
Usos come out to even it up. Yeah.
And I think that pushes it further down the road of what you said for War Games. Right? Like, I think
Yes.
that just
Yeah.
sparks it right there. Because what would be the better match to all this? then um, the Bloodline kicking the crap out of Bronson and Braun, and they're both standing over each other, just doing the, you know, one finger salute, right? You technically would have to say that
Yeah.
then that night right there, or that Saturday at 8:15 a.m., the Bloodline is officially back, right? You would have to
Yes.
say it's
Yeah.
they're back.
100%.
But then it's like, do they continue after Bronson and Braun to just destroy them, or do they branch off and go after that MFT stuff, right? And it's like, don't forget, there's still one or two guys in WWE development that are related to Roman. So like, um, if they're getting a faction done, like if what's Seth's faction called?
Division,
Oh God, I hated that. Yeah, that's right.
right?
Yeah. If like the Vision's getting that person, what if I thought about this too, and it just sparked the brain again.
Yeah, division.
What if the thing that Paul keeps mentioning, that like he knows how to help? What if it's Brock?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you kind of like theorized about that before. I like.
Like if there's something that Brock truly
I mean,
wants,
it'd be
Paul says, "You do this for us, I will get you to that spot what you want." Like if you want to end John Cena, I will help you end John Cena. Right?
I mean, yeah, I it'd be one hell of a twist for
Yeah,
sure
it would be wild, right?
because I wouldn't be expecting that, and a lot of why I wouldn't be expecting that is because like I don't see how he fits. You know, like yes, you can make a story and like you can explain to us how he fits, but I don't actually see how like realistically long term or even in a short term he really fits in that group. Like he's just not really a faction guy anymore, you know, like well, or ever, right? Like he's just not a faction guy.
No.
And you know, like yeah, if it's like a one off, like I guess for sure, but it still would be weird to me, but it would be one hell of a twist. So it would make me be like, how the hell are they going to do this? So then I'd be watching,
Yeah.
right? Because I'd be sitting there going, how are we going to make this work? So it'd be intriguing.
Yeah. Um yeah, I was trying to cuz like you're going to have to cuz what is it? Is it 4 on 4 or 5 on 5 for war games? 5 on
Five,
5. So you're going to have to add two people
five.
to the vision. Or they're going to have to go
Yep.
in list two people. And if you know the bloodline backs together,
Yeah,
you know Sammy's back in the spotlight.
probably. You know, so I could see that, right? Like them enlisting a couple people probably wouldn't be like I don't know. They've done that a lot with these types of things, whether it be a true Survivor Series or a War Games match, where it's like you got to just recruit people and you just find you know some heels or some baby faces to join you for one night. You know, right? Like, I mean, hell, it's how we got CM Punk into this, right? Like, you know, Paul calls in a favor. CM Punk joins the Bloodline for one night only. You know,
Well, and I think you could do that all over again with Brock, just with Paul on the other side now. And I don't think people would care.
you could. It'd be interesting. Has Brock even ever been in a War Games match? I don't think he
I
has.
don't think so either. Um,
Be very interesting to see him in one.
you think if if Hunter and Sean gave you the pen and said write the war games out, and the handful of shows prior to that that you need to set up? Are you establishing more bloodline members, like brand new people to the company, or are you getting Sami Zayn back involved?
If it's me, I'm bringing in new, like, because if you're going to do anything with this bloodline story, like if this is meant to be the start of another like long-term run for them, even if it's not as successful as the first one, I think it needs to have I think it needs to have new people or some sort of like some sort of um
Yeah.
I don't know the right word, but some sort of rejoining with Solo
Yep.
and Jacob,
Yep.
right? And like getting them all together and putting all the past shit behind, just like Jay and Roman did, right? So with that too, though, yes, it's an opportunity to bring in a new guy that's been potentially, waiting in the wings, but also like we have I been missing it? The Tongan twins or whatever are not around, right? And
I guess Solo
see,
made.
this is the
Yeah.
because I've been a little disconnected, specifically like more so on SmackDown because if I miss it, it's harder to get a replay for me.
Hmm.
But so I could be wrong here, but like Solo's guys, have they even been around after like Solo went away for a bit? Like,
Yeah.
what's his face? Hilo or whatever they're calling him. And I know the one Tongan there was Tama or Tala, like, was hurt, but then I forget what happened with the other one. So again, that's a little bit of my other thing, like because I haven't been as dedicated, I'm a little maybe behind on some of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Solo made a comment that the Tonga twin that was hurt is basically like on the way back type thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah. Have we seen Solo since he lost to Sammy?
yes, yeah, he's been back.
Okay. But but not the other guys.
I think they've been backstage with him, but not. I would have to go back and check, but yeah,
Okay. Well, that's fine. So I mean, I think you could see some sort of combination of that. Maybe introducing a new one, before Sammy, for sure.
well, and that's the problem too, right? Like we can't rightfully say, yeah, Solo's been back and he's done this, blah blah blah, and these people have been around. Like that kind of talks to the point that we've been talking about SmackDown, right? Like something has to change.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting, man. It is. It's I don't know. I think the Crown Jewel will be like a B plus card. I think the Australia card or the
Probably.
Australia crowd is gonna be so excited to have it because it never comes back there unless they're doing like tryouts. Um, so that's cool.
Yeah. Also true.
Um, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, let me see here. What did I say? I think Seth wins the crown jewel because it gives him one more thing to gloat about. I think Stephanie beats Tiffany. There's no way they let Tiffany beat Stephanie, I think. I just don't see it happening. I think John gets back on the winning track and he beats AJ. They shake hands afterwards,
Nice.
whatever. I think Kyrie turns on Asuka, and I think Asuka takes a beating in this match from Io and Rhea. Um, yeah, and I think Roman has to win to make it make sense. But I do think we see the Usos involved. So I think if the Usos get involved and somehow like Roman gets screwed that way, okay, I guess I could see it. But yeah, should be interesting, right? Like definitely gonna have to
Yeah.
catch the replay of that. Um but yeah, I mean that's been Raw. Um should be interesting to see what they had Friday night from SmackDown. The NXT show right now is still buzzing. This Ethan Page and Mustafa Ali match is probably better than anything we've had on Raw match wise in the last 2 months, 3 months, and I'll bet my whole 401k on it. Like these guys, they're just. It's sad that he's not a WWE guy anymore.
Yeah.
But Dan, I finally got my wish. Do you see who was released as of midnight?
No.
Santos
Actually.
Escobar.
No.
I just didn't care for that whole LWO thing with him. That feud was terrible. Like he's a great athlete in the ring. He just doesn't seem like a WWE guy. So I wonder if they're just gonna find a way to put him over in AAA. Right?
Yeah, maybe. Be more popular for sure.
Well, they talked about doing that with Alberto Del Rio.
Right.
So, um, so did you want to hear this quick storyline from Uncle Dave, and then we can go on with what's happening on AEW tonight?
Yeah. Let's do it.
So, Dave Meltzer, the 100% truthful reporter from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, supposedly has said, can you take a guess? Well, do you want to know who John Cena's last match is going to be against?
Um. Yes, I do.
You sure?
Yeah. Why not?
All right, well, you can't quit this podcast then, like once I tell you, and go play your Xbox, because then we both have to quit it. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
All right, I hope you're sitting down, Dan. Dave Meltzer
This is
reported.
what this is. Okay. This is what Dave says is who it's going to be.
Oh, it's supposedly WWE has already made a decision for the final
Okay.
opponent of John Cena's historic career. The December 13th at Saturday Night main event in Washington. What's your guess? And this is probably going to push you away from wrestling even more. So it's a good thing we have a video game convention this week to cheer you up.
Um.
Oh,
I don't even know.
it's not this hard, Dan. It's somebody that you have no interest in.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just tell me because I'm not sure.
It's my second favorite uh, 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 Austrian. Do you know who?
Oh,
To
Gunther. I did see this. I actually saw this on Twitter somewhere. I didn't know who it was attributed to. And half the time I don't believe these posts anyway
I don't
because I
either.
like are pretty sure they're bots half the time. But okay, yes, I did see it. You're right. I have zero interest in that. I don't understand that. Like I don't know. I don't get where they think like that they can make a compelling story out of that. You know, I guess I I guess the idea could be that the non-American versus the all-American type guy, right? Like, he's known for being the US champion so much, like that is just as synonymous with him as any of his world championships were. And like he had that big like open challenge story for a long time with the US title. So like I guess that's what they're doing, right? Like maybe like that's going to be the angle. Like you Americans suck. I'm going to go retire your homie in America's capital. Like
Well,
is that what our story is going to be?
first of all, I just want to say that thank you for not asking me who my favorite Austrian is, because that'll get us kicked off of YouTube. You know. Secondly, I guess the article goes on to say,
I just uh, I just realized that like I just realized what you were even doing there.
yeah.
So yes, okay. Moving along.
Um, I guess so. Here's what he says: multiple sources over the last 2 days, which this guy acts like he has Hunter's and Stephanie's direct phone number, which I highly doubt, have confirmed the name and the WWE internal listing for the Saturday night main event at this point lists that as the only match on the show. Meltzer wrote, two sources have confirmed that the latest plan is for a tournament to be announced, possibly on the air by Paul Levesque, with top wrestlers vying to be seen as last opponent. But multiple have confirmed, however, it reaches the conclusion. So this is, instead of a winner take all, the last man standing gets John. So it's Mortal Kombat,
Okay.
and John Cena is Goro. And once you win the tournament, now you got to go fight Goro. That's what we're doing with this. Like,
In the same night.
this is what it says. This is what he said. That confirmed that the plan is for a tournament to be announced, possibly on the air by Paul Levesque, with top wrestlers vying to be Cena's last opponent.
Hmm. Wow. I like this even less now than I already did. And I already didn't like it. Like, A, if you're going to do a tournament, do the tournament like leading up to the last match. Like, it doesn't make sense to do it all in the same show or whatever they're going to do. Like, that's stupid
Yeah,
to
it
me.
sounds
But
like. Yeah, it sounds. It sounds like that's the only thing occurring on that card. Like,
oh, that's interesting too.
that's the only thing on that card. That's not weird, right?
Yeah, that's I mean, it's weird, but that's interesting though because like filling a card with matches that end to John Cena. But like, what you don't like about that is the idea of like, so Cena has to wrestle a guy that's already had probably two matches in the same night. Like,
Probably
his third
three.
match is going to be fighting, right? Like, and his last match is going to be um his last match is going to be fighting the goat. Like what? What are we talking about here? You know?
Yeah, and it kind of takes away from the value of him as a performer in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's just not true. Have we ever wondered? I mean, I know we've heard the stories, and I don't always buy them, but like, some of the boys, especially the more older ones, are like, "Oh, we used to feed Dave stories purposely." Like, and to be honest, I don't really, um, I don't really always buy that. But I don't discount the idea that some people probably spoke out of turn purposely just to fuck with them. But I also have always wondered, are these sometimes coordinated leaks of information to gauge fan reaction ahead of time?
To like test it,
Right?
and then if
Like,
it's crappy, they could go to the backup plan.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Like,
sense.
like they monitor and see what the response is to Dave's reporting or Sean's reporting and say like, "Holy shit, this is wholly being rejected. We need to pivot." And not that they always would, but it is a way to look. This is what they do in the world and politics, right? Is they always soften the ground by releasing leaks ahead of time of what they're thinking, and then they can gauge reaction to see how bad it's going to be, or maybe chart a new path because of it.
Agreed.
So I always wondered that too. Like, could they be doing this? And like, if enough people are like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard," do they then go and say, "Never mind," like, we're just gonna. I mean, again, if you're gonna do a tournament, I don't understand doing it all in the same night. Like, that to me makes no sense.
It kind of
Leading up to them, fine. Still a little weird, but like, it's not the worst thing I've ever heard. If it's 3 weeks ahead, there's a tournament and there's a pool, and they're all vying to be the guy who retires John Cena or whatever, however you want to put it.
yeah. Or dude,
Also, too, like, am I crazy, or should it not be the Miz?
um, I like the rumors that I've been hearing about Edge.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if they could do something like that too. And obviously, those two have done a few things to keep their names, in the spotlight with each other. So that could be cool. But I was more just thinking in my head, like, look, the Miz and Cena also had a pretty big rivalry at one
Yeah,
point, and the Miz was, at least for a while, was on a trajectory to be, in theory, the next John Cena, right? Like, I don't know that that was really ever their plan, but he certainly had some accolades and then did some things that were very synonymous to John. And the comparison was going to be made. And then, of course, there was the feuding. I mean, he was a very young champion, the first ever, like, two-time, the youngest Grand Slam, I think the first two-time Grand Slam, right? Like,
yes.
you know, and of course, I mean, more ironically too, they both did their own versions of the Marine, but
Yeah,
that's
that
just
is
kind of
true.
a funny little connection,
Yeah,
right? That's just like a funny little connection they have.
cause Paul did
Um,
the school bus driver WWE film that they did. That's the one that Paul did.
right. So like, there's a part of me that thinks, and I know Miz really hasn't been doing very much for a long time, but I'm just sitting here going like, is it not like the perfect opportunity for the Miz to come out and be like, "John, your legacy haunted me my whole career. Now I need to end your legacy." And whether or not he does doesn't really matter, right? Like, the story writes itself.
Yeah, Yeah, and I think there would
Maybe
be a lot of
maybe they'll
excitement for
hire
that.
us someday.
I think I would do the tournament the night before
Or maybe Miz could win the tournament. Yeah, and do it before. Like doing the tournament the day of seems stupid to me.
because it takes
That
away from
actually
John.
see
Yep.
there see here we go. Here we go. We need to they need to zoom us in for these creative meetings. Like the tournament should be made up of people who have a reason to want to be John Cena's last opponent, right? The Miz. I mean, we could go through people. The Miz, Punk. I don't know if you'd want to put Brock in it, but Brock, right? Like,
He's gonna have to
um,
get that back against Brock right before the end.
maybe not. I mean, I thought maybe if that was going to be the thing, unless Brock shows up in Australia, which would be wild. Like, you know, I thought maybe they would at least do something to hint towards that. Um, but I have a weird feeling that he's gonna lose in his last match.
Yeah, you said that
I
before.
think he's gonna go out losing. I really do think he's gonna go out losing. Um, it's just very traditional, right? Like you lose when you retire. You know, it's like Ric Flair esque. But yeah, like if you were gonna do a tournament, like there's the idea. Like stack it full of people that have a reason to want to be John Cena's last opponent that makes sense, right? So, like I said, Punk, Miz, let's just say Lesnar for the sake of argument, Randy. Um, yeah, I mean, look, if it was possible to get Edge, then yes, Edge, right? Um, I'm trying to think of some other people that would make sense that are still around and available to be it. You know, well, you wouldn't put The Rock in a tournament, but like like guys like that, right? There's history there, and that there's a reason. I mean, you know, that would just make a ton of sense. Um,
Yeah,
and
I'm
throw
trying to
them
think.
all in a tournament. I mean, talk about a crazy tournament, right? Like in the idea of like who would be in it. Like, let's see, let's see what I can pull up here. Punk, Edge, AJ, but we're just getting that. Kurt Angle, that's not going to be an
No,
option. The Rock, not going to be an option. Randy, Brock, we said that. Shawn Michaels, not going to be an option. Triple H, not going to be an option. Batista, probably not going to be an option, but I suppose that's possible. Kevin Owens, not going to be back in time, right? Umaga gone, Bray Wyatt gone. Jericho,
they talked about that.
that'd be interesting. Yeah. So The Miz, Rob Van Dam, no. Undertaker, no. Like those are some names when I just Google like John Cena's greatest rivals, right? Like, you know, you put a tournament together with guys like that. Maybe you put in a couple of guys. You could probably put in a couple of guys who he never had a true rivalry with, but can say like, I never got a chance to wrestle him. A little bit of some fantasy booking for somebody, younger or whatever. Um,
What if this ends up Joe Hendry and that's his introduction into the WWE? Like December, his contract ends. January, his contract begins with WWE. He's been on every podcast that's saying like he's talked to John about it, and John said there will come the time where it actually happens.
Yeah, I mean that would be a good example of like a newcomer slash quote unquote younger guy that has never faced him that they could do something with. Like, look, anything's possible when you think about it because like Undertaker lost to Brock and broke the streak, and Undertaker lost to Roman, right? Like at WrestleMania just to help solidify them, and not that either of them were like brand new guys or super young, but in in Roman's case, he just wasn't established as a true superstar yet. He was missing something, and they thought beating the Undertaker was going to help, which it actually didn't. But I'm sure that was the goal. Lesnar, I think a lot of people could argue he didn't have to have that, but it certainly catapulted him to another level than he was already on, right? Because he was already on a level, but then breaking the streak just put him into a whole new level. So, yeah, you're right. They could do something like that. Hendry comes in, wins, and it's like, I retired John Cena. Like, that's his claim to fame to start his WWE career. It's a crazy start, right? Um,
Can I tell you a guess that I think we're gonna get involved in the tournament, but I don't think he's gonna win for sure? The current NXT champion, Ricky
oh,
Saints,
Ricky Saints.
in the
Yeah,
tournament,
see, yeah, I mean, that could make sense too in doing things like that, right? Like,
and
you
th-
know,
there's
I
been
mean,
yeah.
so, well, who would, if you could pick anyone, forget about well, I mean, it could be in the confines of the tournament, but
So yeah,
even if you forget about the tournament, who
so
would you pick?
the
Like
turn the turn
anyone that's available.
so the tournament. Are we thinking 10 guys, or are we thinking 6 to 8 guys? Because that'll be 3 matches, 3 to 4 matches.
Um,
Because if a show has usually 4 to 5 matches,
10 guys, 10 guys,
ten
right,
guys
would
would be
be
5 matches, 1-on-1.
5 matches, right? 5 matches. Then you'd be down. Well, wait, that wouldn't work. It would have to be 8 guys, right? Because you need an even number after. Because you'd only have five. You'd have 5 left if you did 10 matches, so they wouldn't match up as well.
Right. Sorry, yeah,
Somebody
you
would
get
have
what
to
I'm
have a
saying.
buy. So
Yeah,
yeah, no, you'd either need 8 or 12. So I guarantee it wouldn't be 12. Certainly, if it's not going to be the night. So if it's 8, it's 4 matches right off the bat, then 2 matches. So 6 matches before you get to John. So 7 total matches on that card. That's never going to happen. That's not going to work. Not for a Saturday night's main event. Like, that's the other thing. Forget Saturday night's main event is going to be on NBC, and it is going to be, well, as far as we know, it's time sensitive. It's time barred in the sense of
it's
it's
yeah.
not Netflix. Like, they can't go over, and we saw what happened with Goldberg, right? And they're not going to do that to John. Like, so
I think this starts the Friday
it,
before. Like I think it starts that
or
Friday.
the Monday before.
Yeah,
I
and
think it starts the Monday
and
before,
they just
and
have it build up all week,
yeah, it's prelims and then it's semifinals.
and then
Maybe the final match to get to John is on is on that night, but um,
yeah, quarterfinal.
yeah. So anyway, so
I could see it being
who?
semifinals, finals, and then John.
Yeah, maybe. Um, who would you pick if you could pick anyone that's actually available? But I'll include AEW guys who are coming off their contracts. I just mean guys that can physically wrestle that are available. Like, obviously you can't pick MJF,
No,
right?
yeah, no.
Yeah.
To be honest, I have no interest in Chris
Who?
Jericho. No interest
Yeah,
in
I
Chris.
only threw him in because he was on
No,
that list, and
and
I
there's
know,
a
like,
ton of people
yeah.
barking for it, but I have no interest. I
I don't. Yeah, I actually don't either. But he could be an interesting addition to the tournament, for sure.
I think you have a lot of other
It could just
talent
be
that
fun.
could make the tournament much more interesting. I think you have Orton in the tournament.
Yeah,
I think you pull out
yeah.
every card in every blank check you possibly have. If it's true that there's a gap in Edge's contract that's going to allow him to do this, you pull out every blank check and you allow him to come do this. Like, you just, whatever the number is, you drop it off in 5 and 20s in his driveway for him. I think
Well, and
that's
also too, like, Edge probably doesn't need to be the winner either,
no. So
right?
this
Like,
is
so
perfect.
like if you are interested in giving him a win on his way out, then Edge is a good option. if you don't care about giving him a win, then like somebody else. But okay, so would Edge be your guy then that you would want it to be? Like who or even a ranking? Like who's your top three choices to be his final match?
See, this is the problem because I'm so high on the young talent that WWE has that I think this is where Triple H
Fine.
is getting out of touch of what he has in his disposal instead of reusing guys that look like they got off the booze boat. I would have Brock at 3.
Okay.
I would have Edge at number 1, but I have John winning his last match.
Okay.
And if this is truly a tournament, there's no way that the tribal chief is not involved. I think those are my top 3.
That's tough though too because like even in a tournament style, like I think they still be a little protective about a win and a loss
Yeah,
there.
yeah, agreed. But if I'm just
So
saying, like, if we're just gonna treat this Saturday night like all the other bullshit that they've been treating these one-off cards like, I think those are my top 3. Now I would have people in the tournament like Joe Hendry, Ricky Saints, and to be honest, I would actually use this time to introduce like the WWE main roster to the guys our age and older that are coming back to the Saturday night shows. I would use this opportunity to introduce them to somebody like Oba. Just that
yeah.
monster of a man the first time you ever saw him, right? Because it kind of gives that prestige, like that, just that history feeling of like you watching a Saturday show and all of a sudden you see Andre Giant come out and he's 12 times the size of everybody sitting at the rail, right? Or like you see The Undertaker get walked down by Paul Bearer. Like, I don't think you have to do much to build that monster aspect if you do it properly through the Saturday night main event with Oba. I think it kind of rewrites itself. And I think if they don't find a way to do it, I think it's an ultimate failure. But that's just me. What about your top 3?
Yeah, like so I'm like completely well, our lists are going to be different but not as different as I'm about to make it sound, but like I'm completely in the opposite direction of the idea of like I mean I think you have an extremely good point about the young talent aspect of it and it's a big opportunity to showcase and give somebody a push and give somebody a real big like rub
Mm-hmm.
from this. So I don't discount that at all, but just the older wrestling fan in me, I'm like more nostalgic
Yeah.
about this environment. So for me, like actually, I'm with you. Brock Lesnar is the third, and this the second one's very tough. The second and first ones are very tough for me because I really like the Edge idea too, but I do wonder if it's actually possible. So I think I end up like putting Edge out of the top three,
Okay.
and for me, and I know we already saw it, but like I kind of like now I'm kind of in on this Miz idea that I thought about because I just think there's a lot there that they haven't even like thought about addressing. But for me too, I love the idea of Punk being there, like because those two just and I know, like I said, we've already kind of had it, but like those two just have for years traded, you know, little subliminal signs to each other and had quite a rivalry and obviously are close, have a close respect, and the doing the moves when Punk finally came back and he's tributing John in AEW and all that stuff and like John's tributing him a little bit at some point. I just think like that story writes itself too, and it'd be kind of cool, you know, and I hate to discount the idea of like putting some young guys. into the mix here because that could be really good. And I just talked about that with like Roman and The Undertaker and what they were trying to do there. But for Cena, I just feel like after all this time, give me something familiar. Give me something nostalgic. Give me something that makes me remember a time when wrestling was its hottest. You
Yeah.
know, I guess that's where I'm at. Like, and for me, that's Miz or Punk or Brock, right? Especially with the idea of it could be John getting the return on Brock of getting back that loss and conquering the beast, literally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, I think I think either ways that we just discussed would look like a success. I think Gunther is the failure.
yeah, I just don't understand the Gunther thing. Like,
Because
you
then if
know,
that's the
like
case, like where has he been? I get he's hurt, but he has to be that close to coming back. We're already almost halfway through October. So you're telling me he's going to be ready in a month and a half, but he's not ready now?
right,
Like
right.
he has to be legitimately like on the doorstep. Um yeah, I just hopefully that's the case is like what we said. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting for
We'll
sure.
find out soon enough. He's only got a few more dates, so they aren't going to wait too long to start telling us what's going on.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that as one of the follow up things, to end the to get us close to ending the show. Like, when do you think that comes out? Then, like, do you think it's like they do a big
Well,
YouTube announcement on their channel? Like, they bring Sam Rob- Robertson to talk about it. Do you think Paul does like a Twitter video like he's done in the past, or do you think he just straight up shows up on like a SmackDown and Raw and says, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do"?
I mean, well, when looking at like, WWE announced, you know, his last 8 appearances going back a little bit, right? So those last 8, so well, okay, so WrestlePalooza was the last one that we've seen so far. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's got 5 more dates remaining that are announced at least, and that's Crown Jewel coming up. That's Raw November 10th, Raw November 17th, Survivor Series, and then Saturday night's main event. So he doesn't even have, unless they're going to add a date that they just haven't announced yet, which I suppose is possible, but he doesn't even have an appearance between Survivor Series and Saturday night's main event. So my guess is you're going to hear it by November 10th or 17th for sure of what they're doing, which
Yeah,
are the 2 Raws that he would be on. I mean, I guess he doesn't have to be there for him to announce it, but I also kind of wonder, are they going to let him have a promo off of the idea of, look, everybody's asking about what's my last match, and it's not up to me. It's going to be a tournament, and tonight's the night people can start declaring for it or whatever, right? Like they can do something like that. So I do wonder what his like role in Survivor Series is going to be. Is it going to be a full like one-on-one match? Is it going to be like, is he going to be a part of a War Games, or is he like just there? You know, is there a match at Survivor Series that, is it a tournament, but it concludes at Survivor Series and then that sets up his final match instead of last, putting it on part of Saturday night's main event. Maybe the tournament ends at Survivor Series because it's only 2 weeks out from that Saturday night main event. But it's weird that he doesn't have another appearance either. So it's
yeah,
like, I don't know.
yeah,
A lot to consider.
Yeah, a lot
Lot
going on.
to
A
consider.
lot going on with John. A lot going on with WWE. Um, real quick. Um, did you want to hear what's going on with AEW tonight?
Yeah, why not?
Because this is technically going counter programming against against some NXT versus TNA. Dan, some AEW counter programming going on. You know,
What do they have tonight? Why is it not tomorrow night? Hockey?
is it hockey tonight or wait? No, yeah, AEW's
Well,
on tonight.
hockey started tonight. What? No, tonight. It's Tuesday. It's normally on Wednesdays. Is it? I mean, hockey started tonight, but I mean, I wasn't sure if like TNT and all them have hockey tomorrow because the season started now.
Yeah.
Isn't Wednesday night rivalry night for NHL?
Well, the NHL started today at 5 p.m.
No, I know, but didn't TNT specifically did like NHL rivalry nights, and I can't remember if that was.
Oh, so tonight is
I don't
Title
think it was Wednesday
Tuesday.
nights.
Title Tuesday is what they're calling it. Dynamite Title Tuesday.
Yeah, I wonder why it's not on Wednesday.
Well, while you research that, here's what's going on. 6-man tag team street
Yes,
fight.
yes.
The Hurt Syndicate, love it, versus the man Bishop Khan, Ricochet, and Toa Leona. Double Jeopardy eliminator match. Brody, Brodito, which I love that name, Bandito and Brody King, versus Okada and Takeshita. Should be a good match. TNT Championship, Kyle Fletcher versus Kyle O'Reilly, the Battle of the Kyles. TBS Championship, Mercedes Bonet versus opponent to be announced, Dan. John Moxley versus Tomohiro Hishish. It's Orange Cassidy versus Pac. That should be very good. Jurassic Express is back in action, Dan.
Yes, I knew that. I knew
And
that.
I guess we're getting a face to face between Hangman Page and Samoa Joe. Not bad.
No, not bad at all.
Street fight should be pretty good to start the show with. Some blood. Um, Bro Dito versus Okada and Takeshita. That'll be good. Don't care for the Kyle Squareds. Don't really care for Mercedes. I'm sure John will bleed over Tomohiro, so that will be gross. Orange Cassidy and Pac should be good. And everybody's favorite dinosaur person is back. So there's some excitement in that, Dan.
Is he not being called Kill Switch anymore?
Oh, you didn't see what he did? He had it on the
No.
belt when they hugged. He had it on the belt. He looked down, took
Kill
it off.
Switch?
Yeah, took it off,
Okay.
threw it into the crowd. Just like that.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the clip of them hugging and stuff. I didn't see the belt part.
Oh, yeah, Dan. Oh, yeah. It was drama. It was comedy. It was everything you ever wanted. It is top-notch stuff going on right now, sir.
So is he not the
Is he not
is he
dead?
not
Right,
the
he's not dead.
is he not the scapegoat anymore? Jack Perry? Is he not the scapegoat anymore? Is he back to like truly being Jungle Boy?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if he ever really was. He wasn't the person that had to leave the company, Dan. You know,
That is true.
one person got fired.
Oh, I know, but
because the executives didn't like them. But we're not supposed to talk about grown men that walk around with tassel on their boots. So,
um, also just to so the reason Dynamite is not on Wednesday actually is um technically because of baseball
oh,
playoffs.
playoffs. That's true.
Yeah, so TBS has Milwaukee, Chicago at 5 tomorrow, and then Philly, Los Angeles at 9 on TBS, True TV, and HBO Max. And then hockey is on TNT tomorrow night as well. So they couldn't even move them to TNT technically. So that is why they are on Tuesday this week and probably for a couple of weeks leading up to the end of baseball playoffs. And then I would assume with hockey, they'll just flip what. Well, hockey will be on TNT anyway, so they can still be on TBS. So just to bring that part full circle. Although it obviously like reeks of counter programming, but there is actually a legitimate reason to not be on
Yeah, no, I was just screwing around with you.
Wednesday.
I figured it was playoffs, either something going on, because I know with hockey being on ESPN now, like that's gonna free up some stuff. But obviously baseball playoffs, everybody, if you work in any type of corporate America job, you always hear people at your work say that they hate baseball playoffs because it takes away from the TV programming during the weekend. Then you're kind of like, what do you watch? And they're like, well, it's just on all the time. Well, then it's not really taken away from programming that you watch. It's just on all the time. Like, is baseball season two
Yeah,
long? Probably, but it's not taken away from anything that you're watching. But what are you gonna watch?
no.
Season three of Burn Notice all over again? I mean, come on now. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, and hockey will screw them up a little bit because so
Yeah,
Wednesday night is rivalry night still, but it's an NHL thing, not a network thing. So games on Wednesdays, not every Wednesday, but on certain Wednesdays, some on TNT, some on other networks, are going to be um, rivalry games, and in theory, more probably more watched. But so it'd be yeah. Well, whatever. Good for them.
yeah.
They've got
No, like these are the type of cards that I expect them to continuously put on. They have the talent, they have the size of their roster to continually do this, right? Like, there's no
well, and the
reason
benefit
that
for
they
us,
can't.
right? And the benefit for us is that you know, a we get to you know debate some of the rating parts of it a little bit, maybe, and then also b we get to we likely get better cards because of it
Yeah.
because they are competing head
Yep.
to head, so they're going to want to. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. Like they're going to want to beat the other promotion
Yeah.
in their own way, right? The competition is always a little bit higher when you whether or not it's a real competition or not doesn't matter because to them it's a real competition, you know. So they're going to put on a in theory better show, and the only people that benefit from that is us.
Mm-hmm.
So
100% agreed. It's worth it, man, for sure.
so that'll be good. That will be good.
Yeah. So, plenty of good wrestling to watch. Crown Jewel should be good this weekend. Tune into that if you haven't had the opportunity at the time that this gets posted to catch the NXT show. Go back and watch it. It's really, really good. Especially Ethan Page and Mustafa Ali. It's it's awesome. And I won't spoil the main event, but Yeah, it's an overall great show for these 2 hours. Great show. Um, so plenty going on, plenty to think about with John's upcoming opponents and this stupid plan of having a tournament. But yeah, until then, we'll be back same time next week there, Dan. Unless Triple H
Yep.
gives us a call and he wants us to fix the card for that Saturday night main event. Um,
Yeah, and then we won't be allowed to podcast anymore
oh, but
until
then
we get fired.
yeah, and then I'll be quitting my 9 to 5 on the flight up there too. Yeah, I'll be like, I don't need this anymore, you losers. I'll see you later. Um, you know what I mean? Like, so it's dope.
Yeah, I
I
don't know if I do that yet. I mean, take it
I
from Bruce. You get sent on a lot of vacations, unpaid.
that's fine. That's fine. I'll at that point then I'll take it. Just to put that on the resume. So until then, next Tuesday, the NXT night, maybe an AEW night. We'll see. But watch wrestling. There's plenty of good stuff on. Should be a good PLE this weekend, like we said. And I'm gonna try and continue on with some AEW. But thanks for listening. Feel free to share. It'll be on Instagram and Twitter tomorrow. Up sometime tomorrow evening, but pass it along. Adios, folks.